you today from Love's. I'm parked at a Love's today in Hampshire, Illinois, which is right next to Harmony, Illinois. And yeah, let me quickly send this to my buddy who's gonna watch my live video quickly. But anyway, I'd like to see you guys in the comments. Tell me, I'll try to read them. Tell me why you think the trucking industry has collapsed. I officially think it's collapsed. This is the most rock bottom you can get. I have talked about it in the video before, but I think this is lower than the rock bottom I was talking about. But hit those comments and let's discuss about why you think it has collapsed. Be reasonable about your assumptions. Don't just blurt it out. Just think about why it has collapsed. But anyways, so I picked up this load right here. I'm not owner-op. I make 30% of the load, but not owner-op. Picked up this load from Little Canada, Minnesota, going to Milan, Michigan, which is right underneath Detroit, and it's paying $1,600 on the rate with 666 miles. Yeah, it's triple sixes. I'm not superstitious by any means, but it's triple sixes. But anyway, that's with the deadhead. And I've counted, it pays about 240 a mile. Now, this load is really light. I'm probably maybe 45,000 pounds. It's just too heavy duty, or like it's 2,500 Chevys. So it ain't like it's bad, okay? It's not heavy, so it's not gonna cost much on fuel for the company. But 240 a mile, in my opinion, if it was a heavy load, would have not taken it. Would have sat the whole weekend in Minneapolis, Minnesota area. But this is considered cheap freight. Now, a lot of you are thinking 240 is good. 240 right now, according to Trucking Made Successful, is what the spot rate is for flatbeds, which is my category because I'm a step deck. I'm not a low pro though. I'm just a regular step deck. But anyways, yeah, 240, it's bad. Now, a lot of you will think, oh, that's great. No, it's not. Think about it. 70 cents a mile for fuel to operate. 70 cents a mile on average, okay? I don't know how much each truck does, but someone calculated about 70 cents a mile. Then you got to pay for IFTA, you got to pay for insurance, you got to pay payment on the truck and trailer if it's brand new, or we've bought it from the dealership even used, and you got payments on to do it. Then you also got factoring if you're on your own. For the brokers, you got to pay dispatch fee, and that doesn't even include your maintenance, or if you have a driver on one of your equipment, that you got to pay the driver yet. So 240 a mile is bad. Now, in my opinion, to be somewhere in trucking where you're okay, doesn't matter the type of trailer, I don't think you're supposed to be under 275 a mile with deadhead included. I think you should be 275 or higher. I think $3 a mile is the goal. And every broker watching this video, if they even see it, should know that $3 a mile is the going rate. It should be. It should be a new standard. Now, $2 a mile was great in 2020. When I tried being owner-operator with my Volvo, which did not work out, it was a long nose hood Volvo. If you have never seen those, Google Volvo VT 880, VT 800, VT 830. You'll be surprised how good those look. And some of them came with about 625 horsepower, but that didn't work out. But $2 a mile was good back then. Why? In 2020 was it good back then? Because when I did drive in 2020, $2 a mile was good. Think about it. The average price of diesel in the United States in 2020 was not what it is at today. Back then, I was fueling for $1.77 a gallon in Texas, okay, and about $1.85 in South Carolina. Right now, it's not there. So if you're doing $2 a mile, you're basically shooting yourself in the foot, because guess what? It ain't going to pay the bills. So that's why we're aiming for $3 a mile. Now, sure, if maybe you're a local truck driver and you don't use that much fuel in certain scenarios, maybe $2 a mile is good for you. But for most OTR truck drivers, especially with the rising cost of insurance, your load shouldn't be more than $2.75 or $3 a mile. And it's so hard. We booked this load thinking we might get a partial, but when I went to pick it up, it came out to turn out that these trucks were long bed trucks, okay? And I physically could not put the rear axle of this pickup truck up here without the pickup truck in front touching the upper deck without using the ramps. So I had no choice but to put the front end of that pickup truck on the upper deck, and that left us with only 6 foot of space on the upper deck. And it's pretty hard to get a partial for 6 foot of space. And not saying it's impossible. I've done it once. I picked up a load where they lied about the dimensions. You probably watched that video on TikTok if you follow on TikTok. And we actually picked up a coil. Yeah, 6 foot coil was 3,000 pound coil, whatever it was. Or man, no, sorry, 6,000 pound coil. And it actually worked out. It was actually a 4 foot long coil, so I had plenty of space. But this is what the trucking industry has come to. Okay, I'm gonna give y'all a few examples of why I think tariffs are in place, why I think Trump may have something to do with this low freight, why I think brokers may have something to do with this freight, why I think truck drivers may have something to do with this freight, and why I think shippers have something to do with this freight. So let's start off with the top, tariffs. Who do they affect, the tariffs? Well, in my opinion, in America, tariffs only affect the ones that are coming in and out of the ports. It doesn't matter. I picked up stuff out of ports before, but it's been years. Why I think that? Because that's where it hurts the most. Step deck, flatbed truck drivers and reefers, for the most part, haul only American goods. Okay, unless they're going to Canada. They're hauling American goods, which are not affected by tariffs, unless whatever they're picking up, everything, all the supplies came from a different country to be made in America. That's a different story. But all the stuff I'm picking up, like, you see this Chevy right here? That does not scream Japan. That screams America. And besides, these Chevys already have 600 miles in them, which also mean that they've been here in the U.S. for a little while being put together for a company. So, like, this company may have bought them earlier this year before Trump's tariffs hit, and they just made them into a fleet. They did some modifications to them. Yeah, that shouldn't affect the price of the load. I'm sorry, that should not affect the price of the load. Like the steel you pick up, or some other American goods. Like if you go pick up Cat from North Carolina, Cat skid steers, it shouldn't matter. The load should pay good. Tariffs should not have anything to do with it, because all I'm picking up is either used equipment, which can be 10 years old, and I'm like, what the flip does tariffs have to do with stuff you're picking up that's 10 years old already here in America? Because wherever I'm driving, it's literally American-made goods from American companies, American manufacturing, American mom and pop small businesses. So I don't think tariffs have much to play with this, unless you're a port driver, unless you carry a container like this guy right here next to me. Next, let's talk about what Trump has to do with it. Well, Trump has really not done a whole lot with trucking industry in his first term or in this term. I like Donald Trump. I like that he's the president, but as far as I know, there has never been a president that really cared about truck drivers. The only thing that will correct this is if Trump's policy with English proficiency will fix this. We get to see this. I have not seen the ripple effects of English proficiency. Supposedly, Wyoming and Texas are putting out drivers like crazy for not being able to speak or read English. And for some reason, I haven't seen the rates go up after they started doing that, okay? Once they started putting drivers out of service for not being able to clearly speak or read English, for some reason the rates went down. I have no idea why. It was supposed to go up because the less cheaper and truck drivers out here, the more trucks, the more freight there's going to be, and the less amount of trucks operating there's going to be. That means kind of like supply and demand. The higher the count, or the higher the price of the load is going to be. It doesn't make any sense. They're putting at least X amount of drivers out of service on the road, and the freight isn't going up. And also what I don't get is there's tons of companies closing every day. Just now, I forgot the name of the company. Someone remind me in the comments. But just now, a company with about 500 trucks went out of business. They've been in business for 70 years. Okay? Companies like this keep going out of business every month. And for some reason, the rate isn't going up. Because the less trucks there is, the more freight there is to haul, the higher the price of the load. Fortunately, in my opinion, if Trump needs to get a regulation mile for a full load, and no less than $1 a mile for a partial, that should be the bottom line. Done. it's a good idea at the same time, but at the same time it's bad, because then there's going to be other ripple effects where all of a sudden brokers going to be using that's why you will not want to have Trump to do this. But anyway, moving on, let's go to the broker side. Why I think brokers are to. There's going to be a vlog coming out of me losing coolant and I had to get it fixed, whatever. I picked up a load out of Connect. So there's two partials. So I picked up a dump truck partial, and then I picked up another piece of equipment partial to make up pretty much a full load, which ran me good. I'll say, for example, the load paid $1,800, which it did. I get 30% of that. Okay, good money. Good money. Running about 70 cents a mile. 70, 80 cents a mile. Ever the load says, do you guys have a where are you guys located at? I'm like, Illinois. But I live here. I live in Spartanburg. I live down the street pretty much. I'm kind of local, so I can come down here, drop a truck that you buy from auction all the time. They're like, yeah, great. We only pretty much deal with running trucks. I'm like, okay, that's good. And like, I gave them my boss's number because they want to do quotes for trucks that they want to haul out of auctions to their dealership. Did you pay the $1,000 and I only got $1,800 and the company got only $1,800? That's like almost half of what they're paying the broker. I'm like, dang. And the brokers, when you know that brokers are cheating on us on the rate. Think about it. A broker doesn't have to have all these expenses like a truck driver does. He's expensive a little. He does ever see a broker use insurance for freight. If you damage freight on the load, the broker is not going to use his or her insurance. The broker is going to be like, no, it's on the company. I don't have anything to do with this. And basically, even if it comes back on the broker is going to be like, well, it's technically on the company. They hauled it. They'll have to. Am I back? Yeah, we're back. Finally reconnected. Sorry, every one of you are seen. If you guys think of any other way it works with the brokers, where the broker used his insurance instead of the carrier using insurance to cover the damage load, let me know in the comments. Anyway, moving on from brokers. Well, actually, before we move on, brokers, just say no to cheap freight, okay? A lot of these brokers are scamming y'all and lying straight to your face when they say that they have no more money in. Because like I said, we picked up a load for $1,800 or $1,850, but the customer actually paid $3,000. That's an absurd a lot of money. In my opinion, the broker shouldn't take no more than 10% of the share for himself. That's my opinion. I think that should be the standard. Anyway, moving on from brokers, we're going to shippers. Now, this is where we can't blame the brokers for it. I talked to my dispatch when we were stuck in Minneapolis and Wisconsin or whatnot. Actually, when we were in Wisconsin, getting a load from Wisconsin to Minneapolis, Minnesota, the shipper told me that she talked to a broker that they had good, strong ties with. The broker said that customers or shippers are simply not paying for loads. They're offering cheap rate, and somehow carriers are the blame for it. Somehow the carriers are picking up this cheap freight, pennies on the dollar, and so metaphorically speaking, and running the loads at $1 a mile. Because when I was in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, a couple nights ago, where they were trying to find a load, and there was loads going to Portland, Oregon, for $4,500 or $4,000, and that's a good almost 3,000 mile run. No, about at least 2,000. I don't know what it is. I haven't been to Oregon for a while, so I don't know what the mileage is from Oshkosh, Wisconsin to Portland, Oregon. But paying $4,000 for a 2,200 mile run is insanity. Unfortunately, that's just no way to go. You're going to lose a ton of money on that. Just in fuel alone would cost like a couple grand probably, if I'm not mistaken. But shippers are just not paying. They're not paying the brokers to broker out the load at a higher rate, and the brokers they're just doing their job. The ones that are honest are just doing their job. Somehow, the carriers are picking up the cheap freight. okay? Somehow the carriers are to pick up the cheap freight. So it's not always the broker's fault. You got to look at it that perspective as well. So it could be the shipper's fault. Now, moving on from the shippers to the carriers who are picking up cheap freight. Why are y'all picking up cheap freight? Tell me why. Always negotiate. I don't care if that load's paying $250 a mile. Ask for another $100 on top. See what happens. Ask for another $300 on top. See what happens. Worst they can say is no, and if you agree to the original rate, they'll still get you for it. As long as you're polite to them. That's all I can say. If you want to know how to negotiate, visit TikTok and search up Sergio Dispatching. Okay, this guy Sergio knows how to negotiate with the broker and load up flatbed Conestogas. That's his specialty. But anyways, carriers, why are you taking cheap freight? Okay, why? Moving on from carriers, we can take this. Do not book cheap freight. So, carriers taking cheap freight. Who are the carriers? Foreign truck drivers. Yes, foreign truck drivers is the reason why the trucking industry is collapsing. All these foreign truck drivers behind me. I don't know who's foreign. I'm just making a joke. But anyway, all these foreign truck drivers are the reason why the parking lots are full, why there's trash in the parking lots, why we're not allowed to park at way stations in a lot of states, why we're not allowed to park at Walmarts, why the food is nasty, why the truck stops are nasty, why the showers are nasty, why the bathrooms are nasty, why the loads are nasty with the rates. Okay, these foreign truck drivers simply just take cheap freight because in their home country, $1 a mile is good money. But in our home country, America, it is not. You're not making good money. We're out here, we're capitalists, we're out here to make money. We're not communists. We're not here to be communists, okay? We're here to be capitalists. We're here to make more money as much as possible. And these foreigners just don't get it. They think getting $100, $200 is good in America. It is not. If you're making $200 a week profit, you are going to go under and bankrupt in America very fast, okay? These foreign truck drivers are to blame. Now, who is to blame for the foreign truck drivers? The government. Yes, the government. Finally, Trump's enforcing it. But it seems like not all the DOT is enforcing it, especially Oklahoma and Arkansas when they said, let's hurry up and start enforcing it, but they're not really enforcing it like they promised. Texas and Wyoming is beating them to it. In California, why I'm not hearing you on the news? Are you being Democrats and communists and just allowing anybody to come in the country and take cheap freight? That's because that's what it sounds like, because California should be the #1 at putting no speak English truck drivers out of service, because there's a lot of y'all Indians out there. Now, I'm not racist by any means, but people like from Africa, from Mexico, from Canada, from India, they all screw up our trucking industry. About 15 years ago this happened. They all screwed up the trucking industry, okay? When y'all see some person that's foreign driving down the road and picked up a cheap freight, that's what's ruining us truck drivers. Say no to cheap freight. Kick out the people that are taking cheap freight, which are the foreigners. I have nothing against you driving on the green card if you're doing it illegally. I have nothing against you driving on the work visa as long as you can speak and read English, okay? Speak and read English and take high-paying loads. Don't take the cheap freight. Because before I went local, before I went back to step deck, when I was local, and before I was local, when the freight dropped in 2022, I started picking up good-paying loads for oversized freight. Next thing you know, everyone jumps on oversized freight because the step deck freight isn't paying good. Next thing you know, I see this oversized rates going down on step decks too. Why? Because everyone starts offering the brokers cheaper rates, and then broker starts posting those cheaper rates. I'm sorry, I don't know how y'all can operate like that, because some of these permits, depending where you're going across country, anywhere from $50 to $200 a permit to cross a whole state. So you better be careful when you take cheap freight on oversized loads. Just don't do it. Just don't do it. So what can we come in conclusion with this? Who is to blame for this total collapse of trucking? 1, tariffs only if the good is not made in America, okay? And if you're a port container driver like this guy. 2, you can also blame the brokers for offering way lower rate and taking close to 50% of the load. 2, shippers that send brokers a cheap rate to post to begin with. 3rd is the carriers that take the cheap freight are stupid. I'm sorry. That's why the rate is cheap. If all of us just said no to the cheap freight, guess what? We would have been seeing $10 a mile by now. Because $2 a mile was the stuff in the 90s. Okay, it was heard of in the 90s from what I could, from my research. Right now, we should be seeing $5 a mile freight as the norm, but it isn't. Okay, and also carriers. Why y'all taking cheap freight? That's the reason. And also foreign truck drivers. Why are y'all here? Why y'all here? Because the government just lets. All right, and next, final for the cheap freight, DOT officers. Yes, please start putting people out of service who do not know how to speak or read English. Okay, that's just simple. The less of those guys, we should hopefully see a lot more parking space at truck stops at midnight, and hopefully we see the rates going up. If we can all fix this, the rates go up. But as of right now, as of right now, trucking has reached a new rock bottom officially. Worse rock bottom than the video I made earlier this year. It is completely collapsing all around us. As of right now, fuel price is going up a little bit. This is summer, okay? This is August right now. Freight has gone even worse down than June, okay, or May. When I ran a couple loads after Memorial Day, that was the last good paying week for me. Okay, that was the last good paying week for owner operators. After the week of Memorial Day, after that last week of May into June, everything went downhill. I have never ever picked up a good paying week after that. Everything has went down from the last week of May. Okay, everyone was saying, "Oh, there's probably gonna be good rates towards 4th of July." It was even worse at 4th of July. Okay, and right now it's even worse now. I have not seen good rates in a long time. Two loads ago, I picked up a $3 a mile load from South Carolina to Wisconsin, which was good, but at the same time, I started on Tuesday, and then we couldn't find nothing that pays good. My gross of the week just went downhill after that. So far, after Memorial Day, I haven't seen good paying rates at all. Everything went down, and even my boss from my company said he is worried about the future. Why? Because winter, right after Thanksgiving, or during Thanksgiving, or a little bit before Thanksgiving, it starts to go down. And right after Christmas, everything goes down on every single type of trailer, except maybe fuel haulers. Why? Because everyone stops ordering. Everyone has to now do inventory and stuff, and there's a lot of tax seasons going on. People do not want to buy anything at the start of the year, so there's less items being shipped. It's always a common thing. Whatever the reason is, during the winter, freight goes down, especially the end of December and January get hit the hardest. So that's why my boss is worried. He told me, Eddie, I don't know what's going to happen, because if freight is bad now, because as of right now, it's worse than 2022. I don't care what the reports say that's better than last year. That's fake. It's not better than last year. Whatever the report's going now, it's going to be even worse during December. So if the rates don't go up in a month or two, trucking industry is looking like pretty scary, honestly, right now. Pretty scary.